Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know you guys have been waiting for this one today. We are doing Amtrak versus Via Rail. Okay, so not just all of Amtrak versus all of Via Rail, but we are specifically talking today about the Canadian on Via Rail and the California Zephyr on Amtrak.
Correct, because it's very hard to compare something like a Hiawatha to something in Canada. There's so much to compare. So we're talking about what most
narrow
people,
it down.
Yeah, what they want to know, which is the long distance sleeper trains. How do those compare?
Yes. So let's start out with, let's see, the train cars.
Yeah.
How nice
the train cars are, and how old they are, how much the upkeep is. So I think the Via Rail cars tend to be older, but they're kept in better condition. Amtrak does have some newer cars that they will use, and you know the upkeep isn't quite as good on them. So I feel like this one's going to be a tie as far as the actual train cars.
Yeah, it is interesting when you compare them that way, because you can definitely tell that the Canadian, the Via Rail, the Canadian train cars are older. You can 100% see that, but because they keep them in such good shape, they're still in contention with some of the newer train cars that you'll have on the California Zephyr with Amtrak, right?
Yep.
So that's what makes it a tie, basically, right?
Yeah. Moving on to food. This is an interesting one, and I think the food quality on both trains is about the same.
Yeah.
But the big difference is going to be that on Via Rail, they will rotate the menu every single day.
Yes, there was such a huge difference. When we do our vacations all over the U.S., we struggle because the menu is exactly the same for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It's kind of fun on the Canadian to be like heading to the dining room and thinking, ooh, I wonder what they're going to be offering for breakfast today. I wonder what they're going to be offering for lunch today, or what's for dinner, because it's just nice to have lots of different choices. And not only are the choices different, but there's also some really good food available on there too.
Yeah, there is. So they do have good food. We do love the food there. We do love the food on Amtrak too, but you do tend to get a little tired of it. We've met people, if you're doing one of these, around the country, 3-roomette type deals, by the end of it, you will tire of that cheeseburger. As great as it is, you will
yeah,
tired
it's
of it.
good, but even if you're riding, just like we said, if this is just the California Zephyr, it's after 3 days, you're just like, I don't want to have to choose between, the hamburger and this sandwich or a salad. You want more choices than just a handful or, of 3 or 4 things, really.
And that is good for Via Rail because the Canadian is an extra day. So you would even, if they didn't rotate the food, you would get even more tired of it.
It would be so tough. Yeah.
So I'm glad they do that. Okay.
Yeah, because you do get a lot of meals on there. So that one goes to Via Rail.
Yeah, that's a win for Via Rail on the food. Let's go to price. Amtrak is considerably cheaper than Via Rail. There's just no way around that. Even with the Canadian to US dollar thing, Amtrak is still cheaper. Let me give you an idea of what the prices would be for the Canadian versus the California Zephyr.
Okay.
So this is just kind of booking off season because the Via Rail Canadian is pretty much sold out in the summer already.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even pull the prices for it, even though we kind of knew what they were.
Because you can't get one already.
Yeah. And the other thing is the rooms don't completely line up perfectly on this because they're different sizes. But a roomette on Amtrak on the California Zephyr would be about $1,200, whereas an upper-lower berth on Via Rail would be $1,900 US. Now the roomette is better than the upper-lower berth. So it's $700 cheaper and better.
Right. In a roomette, and if you haven't seen the videos of the different rooms on Via Rail and on Amtrak, check that out here on the channel. We do have that on here so you can physically see it. I'll show you here also. But a roomette you can actually, it's private. You can pull the door shut, okay? But on the upper lower, you just have a curtain.
Yeah.
So there's no door. Yeah, you have the privacy of the curtain, but you don't have the privacy of the door. And so that's kind of, you know, can be a little bit, you're just out there in the hallway and you're going to hear everybody coming and going. It's considerably louder. We've done both and it's a lot louder. It's definitely, the roomette is a lot better. And to think it's, what'd you say, $700 cheaper? That's really a good deal.
The other thing about the upper lower on the Canadian is that the curtain comes right up against the bed. So there's no interior space. So if you're with somebody, you feel like you're in two separate capsules.
Right.
But on the roomette, you feel like you're in one room.
You could, chat back and forth for sure. Yeah, that does make a difference.
It is hard. You can't, like, once you close that curtain, you can't really talk because you have to kind of go outside.
Because then everybody else in the other upper lower berths can hear you.
As far as the bedrooms go, the bedroom on the California Zephyr is $2,500, and the cabin for two, which is similar, is $3,100 on the Canadian, although the bedroom is bigger on Amtrak. So again, $600 cheaper, and it's also bigger.
Yes, it's considerably bigger, and you also have the shower in the bedroom on Amtrak, while you do have the shower in the wait, you don't have the shower. You don't have the shower. Yes, I was thinking about a different train. You don't have the shower in the cabin for two, but you do have the bathroom. So you have the toilet and a sink in your room, and then you're using the shower down the hall with everybody else for your shower. But on the bedroom on Amtrak, you've got the shower, the toilet, the sink, and that bed is extra big. And it's one long couch during the daytime, and you have that extra chair too, and the room up top as well.
Yeah, so definitely a win here for price on Amtrak.
Yeah,
they've got great pricing, and I think people complain about Amtrak's pricing a lot. They haven't seen the pricing in the rest of the world. Because even though even talking about European trains, they do seem pricey, less pricey, but they're so much shorter that it doesn't. Really
you're not going that far. Yeah.
So win for Amtrak on price here. Let's talk about cleanliness. And on this one, there's really no debate.
There's really not a lot to talk about here. It's pretty easy to say that Via Rail is the winner here. Their trains are definitely kept in a cleaner stage at all times. So definitely something that Amtrak needs to work on. So Via Rail gets this one easily, hands down. Yeah.
Train amenities. So this is going to be like special cars, activities, things that you can do during the ride. So observation car. California Zephyr has an observation car, which we love. Fun. We love that. The Via Rail has the park car and two dome cars.
Yes.
So it's 3-1.
And not just that, they also have activities on board. They'll do tastings. They'll do talks about different things that you're going to see along the way. There's games available in a little games specific area, placed specifically for playing games, cards and board games and things like that. And then they also have like books for you to read as well. And they provide you with coffee and tea and hot chocolate, and they give you even snacks too throughout the day. They serve snacks throughout the day each day. So lots and lots of activities. So I think it's very easy to know who's going to get that one.
Yeah, Via Rail's going to get that because just based on their park car alone, that is the best car in North American train travel.
Yes,
maybe probably on any train we've ever been on. The park car is amazing, and we just love it.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance to be on Via Rail, you want to go back to the park car because it is
absolutely
the best. Let's talk about freebies. And this is interesting because when we did the European versus Amtrak shootout, European trains really shine on freebies for some reason.
Yes.
But
you get those cool amenity packs, which are really, really nice. I mean, we still use some of the bags that they give you, the toiletry bags with amenities in it.
They do.
We still use some of those. Those are great.
Neither of these really shine on Freebies
really.
at all. They don't really give you anything, which is kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Freebies category, we basically went with what you can get for free in the Metropolitan lounges beforehand and afterward, and they're kind of close. You know, in Chicago, if you're starting in Chicago, you've really got some. That's a really nice lounge. You know,
and a great station.
The Toronto lounge is pretty nice too, as is Vancouver. But the Chicago, out of all of them, is the best, I think. So we're giving this one slightly to Amtrak, although it's not a very convincing win.
It's a very small win.
Let's talk about speed of the train. And while they're both very slow, these are not high-speed trains. Via Rail tends to build their delays into the schedule, while Amtrak does not. So when you ride on Via Rail, you won't feel like you're always behind schedule. Whereas when you ride on Amtrak, you feel like you're always behind schedule. Because at Via Rail, they'll stop for 3 hours in Winnipeg, 3 hours in Jasper, hours in Edmonton, and actually let you get off the train, walk around the city, see what there is to do. So that time they have in all these places, if they're behind schedule, it allows them to catch up.
Yeah, as opposed to the California Zephyr, you're just, you know, you're in a hurry. And there's some great stops, great fresh air breaks on the California Zephyr.
Yeah.
It would be great if you had more time to do some things. It really just, the schedule will dictate that. Whereas I love the fact that Via Rail builds in their delays into their timetable. So you end up actually most of the time with extra time than you would on Amtrak.
But this category is about speed, and they're pretty much the same.
Neither of them is fast.
So that's going to be a tie for this one because the speed is it's pretty much the same. Let's move on to staff.
All right.
This is a big one because the staff is going to make your experience what it is. And we do like the staff on both trains. One thing I will say is that the staff on Via Rail, there tends to be more of them.
Right.
Yeah, but I do think that the staff on Amtrak is a little bit more attentive and a little bit more attentive to the needs of the passengers.
Yes.
So I do like that a lot. While both staff are great, I do think Amtrak staff can go above and beyond, especially the sleeper car attendants, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think there is, specifically when you point to the sleeper car attendants, there is actually a huge difference between Via Rail and Amtrak. They're way more attentive on Amtrak. Not that they're not attentive on Via Rail, you just don't see them as often. And if you need something, like say, you know, if you wanted to eat in your room or something, that's not really something that's available. Whereas on Amtrak, you just flag down or, you know, push the button for your attendant and they show up and they say, hey, what can I do for you? And you say, I'd like to eat in my room today. They bring you your food and you're all set. That's amazing. So I think we do need to give this one to Amtrak, right?
Yeah, I think of all the train staff we've ever met, the Amtrak room attendants are among the hardest working in the entire industry of train travel. They do a lot, and it's an all-day job. And
it's actually not something that we've seen anywhere else in the world. We've been on so many sleeper trains, and Amtrak room attendants are incredible.
They're top.
Yeah,
so,
it's huge.
If you're a room attendant and you're watching this, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go to views. And it's just impossible to beat Canada for views. The Via Rail train has some of the best views you'll ever see, rivaling views in Switzerland and things like that. So the Canadian has better views than the California Zephyr. I think that's pretty clear.
It's absolutely, some of the things you're going to see are just incredible. Now, California Zephyr, the views are breathtaking as well, but the Canadian just really takes the cake on this one.
Yeah. So let's talk about baggage. And baggage is, you know, pretty even here. I think you can check bags on both trains. It's not really an issue either way. They both let you bring carry-ons on, so there's really no difference.
Yeah, not much difference at all. There's someplace luggage racks in if you want to bring your stuff on the train with you, or if you're in the rooms, there's plenty of space there to put them. So you're good either way.
So which
So that's
train?
even.
Yeah, that's even. So overall, which train is better, the Canadian or the California Zephyr, Amtrak versus Via Rail?
It's close.
It's very close, but it looks like Via Rail does just barely edge this out.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it is at a higher price. So if you add up the score based on the price, they'd pretty much come out evenly. But if you are looking for that once in a lifetime trip and you can only do one train ride in North America, it would be the Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think you're right. It just edges it out, but it just depends on, your budget. It is going to cost you a little bit more, but if you're doing a once in a lifetime thing and the expense is not an issue, then you would, pick the Canadian, because it does have some of the things that it shines in are things that are going to be important in an experience like that, right?
Exactly. So overall, it is great. We love both trains. Those are pretty easily our two favorite trains
Top
in North America, and probably our two favorite sleeper trains anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually really hard to kind of narrow this down. We went back and forth on some of them, trying to, kind of give one or the other an edge. We didn't want all of them to be a tie. So, and some of them were really obvious, but it is definitely the two favorite trains that we have of all the ones we've ever been on. So guys, hopefully this is helpful to you as you're trying to decide, which way you want to go, the California Zephyr or the Canadian. Then this should help you to make your decision, make it a little bit easier for you. If you have any questions, leave us those below in the comment section. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more like this, and hopefully we will see you on the rails.